on behalf of the 1,934 Princeton area and area residents that have signed a petition and the delegation of business owners present today, we hereby request that council consider the wishes of the people for the following reasons. The lack of public consult. The motorized ban placed on KVR in 2011 had no public consult. A survey was done in 2013, which was 2 years after the ban was placed in 2011. The survey in 2013 is outdated, done over 3 years ago, and only included 225 respondents. All residents of Princeton were not made aware of the survey, just a few. That is not public consult, that is catered to the select group. Lack of public support. Princeton residents do not support this bylaw as evidenced by signed petitions. The businesses in Princeton do not support this bylaw as they are in favor of a thriving economy as outlined in the Town of Princeton's official community plan dated September 15th, 2008, which states the main theme is to ensure the ongoing health of the community through fundamentals such as a thriving economy and residents meaningful, engaged in decision making. It further states that the council is committed to investing in economic growth and encourages meaningful and ongoing community involvement in setting direction for the town's future. Area H residents are economic drivers to the Princeton economy, and they do not support the bylaw as evidenced by the petition signed by Area H and surrounding area residents. Although the bylaw has changed today, does it adequately address the issues on our private property? Why is the ATV group being singled out? If it's a noise violation, there's already a noise violation in place. The Local Government Act states that bylaws adopted when an official community plan is in place must be consistent with the OCP. Bylaw 925 is inconsistent with the official community plan as OCP states. Integrated connections from the town center to the Trans-Canada Trail, the backcountry, and the broader region, considering non-motorized and motorized recreational uses into larger parks and recreational master plan. Support public and private agencies and societies in regional and local trail development programs. The town will provide support to community groups working to enhance the town's trail network. Partner with the outdoor and recreational organizations to develop additional facilities for snowmobile and all-terrain vehicles. The provincial trail strategy for BC is the mandate for the Ministry of Forests, Lands, and Natural Resource Operations. The provincial trail strategy supports multi-use trails and states the following: opportunities for all. Trails in BC are enjoyed by a diverse range of users with a diverse set of recreational values. BC's trail network must provide opportunities for all user groups while fostering respect between the users and the environment. Trails in BC serve a diverse, multifunctional role, including transportation, tourism, and leisure. The trail strategy is based on an inclusive definition for recreational trails. There is growing recognition of the increasing diversity of users and a need to reflect diverse values in trail planning and management. As the provincial trail strategy was developed in the spirit of partnership with ongoing involvement of the user groups, it would be a contravention of the trail strategy to mandate a community to only allow non-motorized on the trail. At the federal level, the National Trails Coalition is funded by the federal government, equally funds motorized and non-motorized user groups, and puts a higher funding priority on multi-use trails.
Excuse me, Your Worship, could we pause the presentation?
Please do the business part of it.
This is representing the business.
Thank you.
Normally after a presentation there may be questions. It's a standard process. So what I'd like to do is invite council. Councillor Doherty, did you have any questions?
I don't know, Ed, but you've done some research. It was a good presentation, thank you. And one of the ways in which you were showing that you wanted to show perhaps respect for riders and safety issues you know, there's been people asking for signs and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, but your photograph on Facebook and the CTV showed you on an ATV without a helmet and on the wrong side of the road.
But you see that the helmet was on my ATV, right?
I saw that, and plus
It
you
was
were...
taken off for a photograph.
Okay.
Because the photographer couldn't see my face.
So I just wanted to ask you if you were aware of the safety issues,
I'm aware of
the
all the
rules
safety
and
issues.
regulations. Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Would you mind elaborating on the public consultation process that you think was not adequate?
225 respondents in 2013 compared to 1,934 today, 8.5 times. That says it all.
Are you aware of the process that Councillor Payton implemented over the past year?
No, yes, I am, but it doesn't add up to the numbers that I'm going to.
I'd like to ask how many people here signed that, or were questioned about that.
Just a second. Where would they give it your chance?
Okay.
Where do you want to go with that?
No, I was just asking if you were aware, because there was a significant process that took place with Councillor Payton, right? In terms of trying to find a solution to the issues that the off-road vehicle community
Yes.
has, right? And there was a serious attempt at trying to find a mutually beneficial solution. So I'm just wondering if you're aware of some of the solutions that were proffered and what might take place.
Only what I've read. I was never consulted on any of that stuff. That survey, I was never consulted on that. I know many people here were never consulted on that.
When you say consulted, what do you mean?
That we will see the survey, to be a part of the survey.
Maybe I could ask our rec director there, if he could just explain for us what that survey looked like back then.
Yeah, it was a survey that we mailed out. We actually hired a consultant to help us come up with some sort of strategies for recreation and parks development. And through that, we had public consultation through meetings. We actually mailed the survey out to all the mailboxes here in town. And a survey like that is a voluntary survey, so we don't expect 100% return. And actually, the 200, and I forget the number, but 200 some odd that we got back was actually the provincial average as far as returns. So we were quite happy with unsolicited response we got, and we didn't limit it just to town. Anyone that had a mailbox here in town got a survey request.
No.
Well, I'm not here to argue, but I'm just telling you what the process was. We stuffed everything in the mailbox, so.
Well, that's the problem. Out of all the people that I talked to were in the petition, I couldn't find anybody who did on that survey. I couldn't remember.
Okay, that's all I have, Your Worship.
Councillor Maynard, any questions?
The Trans-Canada Trail in our area consists of 113 kilometers. It's considered in our area. I've found there seemed to be a lot of confusion. Many people seem to think it was more that we were trying to govern more of that. We are only trying to do the area within the town limits, and did you try and make that clear to everyone that this was not the whole trail? Okay, good. Because it seemed like there was so much confusion.
Not at all. Anybody asking about it, that's exactly what I said.
Okay, so we've got tens of thousands of acres around Princeton, right, where people can use their ATVs. And we're trying to deal with just 3 kilometers or 3.8 within the town limits, right? So I just wanted to mention that to provide a bit of context to this, right? That so we're dealing with just 3.8 Ks within the town limits where people want to walk, right? So that's all I wanted.
But the 3.8, yeah,
Hold on,
No,
guys.
just, what is it? Ed?
The 3.8 kilometers is what cuts us off from your Foster Lake to Toby, or wherever we want to go. It makes no sense for us to have a truck at that end to load our ATV to take to that end. It just doesn't work.
No, I understand that.
But it's more than that. We're talking about tourism, we're talking about businesses here, they're all here. All the business people that we're supposed to be looking after.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, no, that's fine. There's more time.
Doug?
Okay, so you're aware of my committee?
I've read it.
You read it, yes. Can you tell me please what you read?
Are you questioning?
No, I'm asking, so I can provide some sort of clarification.
Because I don't remember word for word.
No, I'm not asking for quotation, I'm asking what, or your interpretation of what you've read, so that I can have some sort of guidelines as to what I don't know. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not.
Mr. Mayor, I'm a tourist. I'm out of here.
No.
This law comes in.
I'm sorry.
I'm out of here. My friends are out of here.
Mhm.
You ought to go after the Harley Davidson to make a hell of a lot more noise
Yeah,
than the ATVs. Thank you, Princeton.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ed, you know, and you're aware of it, it's been over a year that we've endeavored people to come in, meet with us, and look at finding solutions. What we have here in town, the full reality is, historically, and there's some present here tonight that have come to see me, letters I've received, and I'm saying there are two sides to this equation. I hear you, I totally relate, and my biggest concern is, yeah, some level of middle ground, but the merchant, you bet we want people frequenting their stores. Having said that, what we wanted to do is get together to explore solutions. Because if you'll continue to not be willing to come and be a part of that on a positive basis, then I'm sorry, we are going to go out and we'll get representatives from each active group that uses the trail. You people are certainly a big part of it, or you wish to be. And then we will find solutions. The only thing without your input and without this group, that's time consuming. People will have to go off and research and ask. But if we can get representation from you, then we can look for solutions to accommodate. We've talked to 8 other communities, we're trying to learn. A lot of us don't have a lot of direct experience. My kids, snow machines, northern community, Summit Race, that's why I'm broke and I work so. But quite seriously, we want input. And I have asked that. Good friend Dick was here earlier. I spoke to him as recently as the 12th when he was at a meeting at Intown Hall and said, let's get together and talk. Nothing on a confrontative basis ever gets resolved. Now, Ed, I want to say this with respect. We can take the numbers, we can take the percentage of the citizens, etc., but there is a big percentage, and they are every bit as adamant that within the town. You have spent, now we in provincial government, I tell you, $100,000 of provincial money was spent to pave the trail. It was to be a walking trail. We understand the wish for it to be multi-use. Along with that, when we won the Gamestown Award in 2010, we won $100,000, and most of that was used to complete the paving and to put the lighting in it. It's pretty hard to just turn to these people and say, we have this petition, here's the numbers, you're out. Because they want to be a big part of these discussions from a safety point of view to work with people. And that's, right now, the only thing I see is pulling the group together. I don't know what your thoughts are, Ed. That's where we're at as a council.
I don't see that. What's the problem?
Can I maybe just do my little quick speech and then?
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Representing the business owners in town. So we should all feel privileged to have a stable economy that comes directly from the Copper Mountain mine and warehouse or mill. But these industries may not last forever. When the mine originally opened in 2011, they stated that there was enough resources for 17 years. Do the math, that leaves us with 12 years of short-term stability. We need to have a long-term vision if we want a sustainable economy to encourage growth and attract young families. Tourism is a great way to diversify our economy for the long term. The ATV industry is one of the largest and quickest growing tourism sectors in North America. The industry in Canada was valued at $861 million, with 54 million units sold in 2013 alone. It is projected to grow substantially every year, playing a large role in forestry, agriculture, hunting, fishing, and recreation. The province of Ontario realizes the economic potential from this industry. They recently passed legislation to allow rural communities to open up their public streets to ATV users. I can see BC making similar legislation changes in the near future as they see pressure from proactive communities like Kamloops. The cost of maintaining the KVR outside of Princeton's borders is far beyond the scope of available funding. This is part of the reason the CPR abandoned the railway in the first place. Cyclists and other groups are either unable or unwilling to volunteer or fund to keep that trail open. This rugged terrain is welcomed by ATV users, and the fact is most ATV clubs generally maintain these trails themselves, whether it's cleaning up garbage left by others or volunteering their time and money for maintenance, safety, etc. We have heard and seen countless times that this user group does for our community, from the constant trail maintenance by the Vermette Trail Society to the endless volunteers providing hard labor or heavy equipment to remove slides in the road. None of us would have access to these trails if it wasn't for these people. Public safety is understandably a concern as with any sport or activity, especially as the number of vehicles and concentration of users increase. But you don't see communities like Princeton banning motorized boats in the lakes for noise and safety issues, or the community of Oliver, BC, opposing the development of an F1 racetrack for the same reasons. These communities are utilizing the assets that they currently have as benefits far outweigh any negative concerns. Some examples to upgrade the KVR in town, because I do support shared use. Widening, dividing the trail to safely separate the motorized users from non-motorized. Speed limits on the trail. Elmer Ridge, for example, has a 20km/h speed limit on all their ATV trails in town. Cameras was something that was mentioned, located in various spots of the trail. Signage and education is key. I am also personally conscious of the fact that Princeton is in dire need of a dedicated walking and cycling loop within the town center, not just a path, full loop. This could also be integrated with the KVR. With a bit of research and planning that included volunteers and businesses alike, we could easily develop a strategy that would benefit everyone within the community. It can't be overstated how important it is for council to work side by side with Area H residents to understand how large this tourism industry is. All you have to do is look at the community of Tulameen to see how ATV tourism alone has benefited that community. From $1 million lakefront homes to one of the busiest Can-Am ATV dealers in BC, there is no question we're already missing that boat. To be successful in tourism, one must take inventory of what is unique to the area and market a specific brand identity to attract visitors and sell the area. Too long has Princeton been branded as the pit stop for the Okanagan that you'll miss if you blink. We have a thriving tourism product at our doorstep with the infrastructure already in place to connect with communities along the KVR. The OCP acknowledges this by stating that it will, quote, consider motorized and non-motorized recreational uses within its trails and greenways, end quote. We can no longer afford to ignore this huge revenue generator that is perfectly suited for a town and valley. Let's talk share ideas, and take advantage of these tourism dollars into our town instead of an outright ban. A well-thought-out plan can allow us all to share access to recreation in and out of town.
Now we got some ideas, use them.
Anything further, Councilor Rosemary? Councilor Bacon?
In your presentation, you said work side by side with Area H. Now, I have invited Area H, I've invited the director, I've invited representatives on numerous occasions to come to the table.
Oh, I've never seen it.
No.
Can I speak to that?
Could you just speak it there, you know, when a small group of you are there and say,
Well,
"Hey,
actually,
come."
I spoke with ATV representatives at the Midway AGM.
That doesn't represent Area H.
No, it doesn't, but Area H residents were there, and those were the ones I spoke
Area
with.
H.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there.
It was, and we spoke.
Thank you, Councilor Bateman. Point taken. Did you have anything further to add, or did you have a question?
I was actually still going.
Keep it direct, please.
Vic and I have spoke on several occasions. I've openly talked to him, any chance that I could get, and he has actually returned the favor. We've changed emails. We've spoken. We've all agreed in the same thing, that yes, Area H, as well as town, has to sit at the table and come up with something. There's no argument there. I would agree, you would agree with that, wouldn't you, Vic?
Well, not really, because the stance that council is taking right now is not an area, is consultation with the ATV users at all. You're excluding us right by your actions. Simple as that. You always wait for us to come to you, but you never ever consult with us.
Well, you can rest assured to make that commitment, we'll be coming to something very, very specific.
I would hope that.
Well, I asked you, sir, how many times? I don't know if you think I went stone deaf or blind, but I can come anytime. I'm happy to speak with you, my friend. And Ed, we will get back to you. Anything else you fellows wanted to mention? Go ahead, Lee.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
I actually had a question for you.
Please.
Now, you mentioned Penticton and Oliver. How many of these communities have ATV trails running through their town?
Actually, for example, OK Falls has a dedicated trail system for our RVs. Easy to look it up. It's really easy to do.
George?
It's pretty common.
But anyway, I really appreciate it. Anything you wanted to add? Thank you very much. We will be back in touch with you. Okay? There will be meetings before any of the ground rules change. There will be input from all parties, and as I said earlier, gentlemen, there are a quick look, 4 people that I'm looking at that were instrumental in creating the original walking trail. We have to accommodate all our citizens, and I think it's doable if we all come to the table with the right attitude.
May I speak for a second? This time, everybody gets something in the mail stating you're having these meetings, or in the newspaper as well, because there was nothing.
Hold on the sign out there.
Will do that.
Thank you.
Well, what do you made a comment that we can go quadding anywhere, and that's a bunch of baloney. You can't go anywhere. That trail is probably the one place you could legally go.
It's the lifeblood.
It's important
It
that
is.
things are rallies together. And the pedestrians and the bicyclists can use every single square inch of town, and this is private property. They can walk anywhere they want, but they now have the elitist thought of having all that trail to themselves.
I hate to tip my hand, but we've already looked at alternatives as recently as 2 weeks ago. There will be nothing not discussed. Consideration for all the citizens. I make that commitment.
So you're not gonna pass anything more here tonight? tonight over this whole situation then when we leave? Nothing said.
I'm sorry,
You're
ma'am?
not gonna pass anything tonight, no bylaw, you're gonna go down tonight?
No, we have altered the bylaw
You're
based
not gonna
on
work on it
input,
tonight?
based on input that the good people gave us last time. And the bylaw will still be in effect. There's no change to motorize within the town boundaries until we come up with some solutions.
All right.
Amen.
You know, may I interrupt?
Yes.
I think they may have interpreted what you said incorrectly.
What?
That we are going to pass, tonight we are going to address the bylaw.
Well, I explained
And afterwards, there will be meetings to search out an alternative, to figure out what we're gonna do.
You're gonna pass the law now.
Well,
Then you're gonna have to rescind it again.
We have altered the bylaw now, if I could please. We've altered the bylaw, taking into account the very strong concerns that were raised last time. There will not be ground rules with regard to having it on your own private property. You have to start it to load it, you have to start it to take it off. You want to plow your driveways, that's understood. We've tried to cover that. Now we want to go on to meetings with all parties. Let's come up with some acceptable rules.
So that new bylaw regulation that is that going to 3 readings tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not being passed. It's going to 3 readings, Lee. Good question. Yes, Otto?
You know, and that's something else to all that. Everybody probably knows I'm retired lately, and I've been traveling a fair bit in the States.
You'd be a great guy on the committee.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, I've been traveling extensively in the States, and I see lots of small towns.
I don't want to
And
hear
once-
about the great United States of America.
Okay, then I'll tell you about the ones in Canada.
I know all about the Washington state laws. We're learning quickly.
Good. Anyways,
We're going
as
to
I was
live
saying,
within our laws of our provincial government and us.
you're losing out on a lot of money in this town by adding ATVs. You're using out on huge economic benefits.
Big time.
If I may say something here, Your Worship.
Yes.
You know?
Otto, in one sense, you're hitting the nail on the head. This is a choice about the long-term direction of Princeton,
Yeah.
all right? And there's 2 sides to that, right? So, in looking back, 20 years from now, looking back, we'll know that during this administration, there was a decision that went one way or the other. Whose choice, yours or ours? Well, let me just address that for a moment. In 2 years, there's going to be an election, and you can throw me out. Probably will. Right? If you don't like what the decision is, that's okay. That's how democracy works, and I'm happy to live with that decision.
Not just make up.
That's the solution.
Yes,
Let
ma'am.
me tell you to do
All
with,
right, please.
to do with this whole petition, when we were talking with people, I have spoken to probably about 8 people at the campsite in Granite that have flat out said that if this is the way it's gonna be and they can't ride their quads or come through here or anything like that, then they will go somewhere else and spend their money somewhere else.
We've received, I've had emails to me as well, man, the same way. You bet. Well, take Yes, sir.
Frank, is anyone allowed to come and speak with you about some suggestions and solutions to the issues?
Beg your pardon?
Like, am I myself allowed to come and speak with you about solutions?
At any time.
At any time, okay.
At any time. Yes.
Can you guys consider, like, most people here, including me, like, I buy my plate, I do everything legal, I drive slowly down the trail, I move over, I stop for everybody. I mean, if I'm, because I'm gonna use the trail. Bottom line, I'm gonna use the trail. So, do I take my plate off now, and so nobody can get my plate number in order to drive on the trail? Because that's what it's gonna come down to. That's exactly what it's gonna come down to, because I'm not paying $500 to ride 100 feet on the trail. I'm not getting it.
That will all be considered by a group representing all groups in the community.
Because I mean,
I'll
if
get a
people are
petition
dirt,
from
if
the
people
other
are dirt
guy.
biking and stuff and ripping up and down, I'll be the first one to point them out. Because I wanna be able to ride on the trail. And if they're being idiots on it, I'll be the first one to report it.
Yeah, but you see, this is the issue, you know. If the whole world loved each other and we all loved our neighbors and were considerate, there wouldn't be a need for any rules. We would always be considerate of the other. This is here in part because of those who have not been mentored properly by other adults or have not attended workshops. I would highly recommend the ATV implement workshops showing, demonstrating to people how to behave on the trails, right? Because that's the only way people are going to learn, right? And so
And a good ticket. Give them a ticket.
well.
You guys are talking about doing that, I haven't seen anybody out
Okay,
there
that's,
stopping these guys.
You made, or Councilor, you made your point, you got it. One more, you, sir?
There was an article in the paper, and it was about a woman that wanted to come and use the trail and start a business here for disabled people. And she was in the paper, and she was a safety instructor. And she said that if she could not use the trail, then the disabled people could not get out on the trail properly because you gotta go through town.
I don't understand why they don't wanna walk up the streets of Princeton. You can't ride our bikes up the street of Princeton. It's a beautiful town.
Every school should be used, right? And now they want that too.
You gotta be on the trail.
Jerome, leading to that comment, again, education and signage is key on that trail. Because what happens is, yeah, you get a little out of control, you know, you come from the city, unload the bike, now let's get the heart rate going, right? And then, by the time you hit the tunnel of the town, you know, you need some signage just to remind the guy, you gotta slow down. You're going through, residential neighborhoods, 20 kilometers per hour, whatever, that education and signage is a key part to doing that.
Yeah, but
No, this isn't a debate, we're gonna have a committee to get into the things. I think it's key that we hear what people came for us to hear tonight. Ed, go ahead, please.
I remember when the railroad was in town here, they had 4 sets of tracks.
Yep.
Could we not divide them up between different groups?
That's what we want to explore. What alternatives, Ed?
That's what they were talking about.
You just can't take the way it is and turn it over. I said, I have concerns for the other folks who have come forward as well. You bet, Ed. Nothing is beyond looking at.
Well, stop what you're doing and slow it down then.
Yeah.
And do so before you do the reading. Slow it down, listen to everybody. You said you want to listen, listen now before you pass it. And then pass it afterwards. Well, the consultation, you'll do it now before you do it.
Because it's not so much a point of being nice and greeting people on the trail, it's the ATVs destroying the trails by the nature of the machine that they are. And they dig up the ground, and it makes it almost impossible to bike on a surface like that. And I'm not the only one who's being fussy. Anyone that's come from Europe to this country and they can do this kind of a trail, have gotten off the trail and gone on the road just because of the condition of the trail. And that's ATVs doing that, I'm sorry.
And dogs.
And the wheels dig up into the ground and they make a real mess. Having said all of that, I'm only interested in keeping the 3.8 kilometers free of non-motorized vehicles. I think it should be self-propelled activities. I think we should promote more self-propelled activities, which is cycling, walking, running. That sort of activities is more conducive to the town environment and even to tourism. There are tourists, not just the ones that come with the machines, but the ones that are traveling through that like to take time off and use this trail, and it's a nice trail to use, and it's a safe trail.
So you as cyclists, are you gonna clean and
We're
maintain the
not-
trail like we do?
Folks, we've had two good presentations, we've learned from them, we've heard comments. Anything directly, yes, go ahead, Dan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to speak on the trail. My wife walks that just about every day. She goes from where we live in the tunnel, up to the tunnel, right down the subway. And she is quite concerned about the, what do you call it, the dirt bikes. They go by and they hit the gas and there's gravel all over. The ATVs, they slow down. In fact, some of them stop. And to me, I mentioned this to you and a couple other councilors, nothing's been done, nothing. And there's people going up and down the trail with dogs. And there's dog, whatever, all over the trail.
It's disgusting.
And I mentioned it to you, you said you're gonna get it cleaned up and that. It's gotta be looked at just about every day. There's people just about every day got 2 or 3 dogs and they're gone. And you let them do what they want.
They do it in town.
I was in Burnaby for a week down there, and my daughter and her husband carry a bag.
Yes.
If they, whatever, put it in the bag and take it home. Something has to be done in that respect here, because if you don't do nothing about, as far as policing, then he's got to buy an officer and etc. She's got to do her job. Something was mentioned about the RCMP. They can't be there all the time, but at least once in a while. That's all you got to do is catch 2 or 3 of them that are buggering up the trail, and the word will get out.
Thank you for your input. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to thank both of you gentlemen. Very good information. We will be back in touch with you, and we'll proceed from there. Okay? So thank you very much.